Greetings. We are in full swing into Advent season. And although we had a little bit of a late start for our Advent Reflections project, we are officially kicking off today, and I hope you're excited about it. So, Christmas has always been my most favorite holiday. Although it's cold in December, there is a warmth in spending time and sharing a good laugh with family and friends. As a kid, Christmas for me was almost magical. The lights and the hot chocolate and Santa Claus. I remember having a train set that I used to put around the Christmas tree, which I definitely played well beyond Christmas. That was the peak of my Christmas excitement. But for some reason, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, Christmas got less and less exciting every year. I no longer look forward to Christmas, but it became just another holiday for me. But for the last few years, something interesting began to happen. The wonder of Christmas that I had experienced as a kid started slowly coming back to me when I started paying attention to the story behind the holiday. When I began to see the warmth in the love of God, I once again became a child in the wonder I had for the person of Jesus Christ. All the things that surround Christmas, the gifts, the decorations, the get-togethers, those are all good things. But they should only be reminders of the true gift that God gave us on that first Christmas. Otherwise, we are really missing the point of Christmas, as I once did. So I'm going to start off the first Advent passage, and I'm going to read from John chapter 1, verses 1 through 18. So you can now either pause the video and flip to the page, or you can just listen to me read the passage. So John 1, chapter 1, verse 1 through 18. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things are made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light that shines in darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify concerning that light, so that through him all might believe. He himself was not the light. He only came as a witness to the light. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. He came to which was his own, but his own did not receive him. Yet to all who did receive him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or of husband's will, but born of God. The Word became flesh, and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. John testified concerning him. He cried out, saying, "This is the one I spoke about, when I said, 'He who comes after me has surpassed me, because he was before me.' Out of his fullness we have all received grace in place of grace already given. For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself God and is in closest relationship with the Father, who has made him known." So the first thing that strikes me is the first verse. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus, being the Word, was pretty much with God from creation. Genesis 1:26 says, "And God said, 'Let us make man in our image and in our likeness,'" which meaning there was more than one person there from the beginning before creation actually happened. So I used to think that Jesus was only there where first came on the scene in the New Testament. But Jesus was really there from the beginning. We see this throughout the Old Testament, but especially in the books of the prophets speaking of the Messiah, who pretty much the prophets prophesy about the Messiah who will save his people. This only means one thing. God, being above time and knowing that we would rebel against him, knew that in creating us, he would have to come into this earth to die for us. So Jesus didn't come down to the earth as an afterthought when we screwed up or something like that. Rather, he knew that the price he had to pay for us in giving us life was for him to come into history and lose his life for us. So even from creation, we can see the love of God. So another verse that strikes me is verse 9 and 10. The true light that gives light to everyone was coming into the world. He was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. God came down, and not even his own people, the Jews, who knew all the prophecies of the Messiah through the prophets, recognized him. The Jews expected God to come as a king, in power and in splendor. But Jesus was born in a manger, where they used to keep farm animals. Reading this really made me realize that God's reality and his values are probably completely different from our own. We value power and might, but God values a humble heart. We value wealth, but God says anything in this world is not of value. Only until we humble ourselves and realize that we really don't see the whole picture, can we really see God's reality and his glory. I wonder sometimes if I lived in the time of Jesus, if I would have been able to see Jesus for who he really was, or would I would only have seen him as a carpenter's son. And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself that same question. So I'm going to leave you with that, and I hope that this video and the ones to follow will help you to focus your heart and your mind on what really happened, and once again experience the true wonder and warmth of Christmas. Thank you for listening, and God bless.